Աբուշիմեգը բիդիալլաս եթե չհասկնաս, որ Ամերիկայի Միացյալ Նահանգները հայկական է, Bari Luys. Bari Luys. Every Thursday it has to be an English programming because last Thursday when I did half Armenian, half English, I received an email from a gentleman who watches my show who is not an Armenian and who does not understand Armenian. And he enjoys the Armenian identity in Glendale and in the neighborhood. And he wrote to me a couple nice sentences and he said as much as there are good and bad Armenians and obnoxious Armenians, but he still has interest in the Armenian identity and the Armenian people. And I would like to thank him for his interest into the people of Armenia. I'm not going to read his email, but then this week I received an email from UK, from England. And as you guys know, if I talk about somebody good, nobody has interest. But if I talk about a vochkar from UK by the name of Seroj something. Now I'm going to read his email from UK. His name is Seroj Azarian. Anybody knows this guy from England? Please give him my congratulatory thoughts of him being the vochkar from UK. So from now on, every time I mention the word vochkar from UK, you guys should know about Seroj, the vochkar from UK. So I'm writing from UK. Just accidentally turned your channel online and must tell you never heard so much bullshit in my entire life. My dear fellow viewers, don't get insulted by the words because it's only words. Who cares if it's a bullshit or human shit? Nobody cares about those things. I know some of the people might think this is not appropriate to talk on television like that. But in my case, in this case of the programming, it is appropriate to be true to our own identity and to be true to people who express the way they express. Who is funding this guy and his program? See, automatically, vochkars, they think that if somebody is talking and somebody is supporting him financially, see, the free thinker will never assume that somebody is funding anybody who is expressing the truth. So this guy being a vochkar, his first question is, who is funding this guy and his program? What a waste of airtime. I don't consider this to be a waste of airtime. It could be considered by him, but he's the idiot who's sitting and watching it. But again, he's a vochkar. I'm Armenian. He should have added there that I'm an Armenian vochkar, but he didn't know about his being an Armenian vochkar till I sent him a letter saying that he's a vochkar. I am Armenian, not a believer, but still respect the traditional values of our history, including religion. So, in this sentence, I'm just going to ask him, what history? The one that the religious organizations altered and made it to benefit themselves, and the Armenian identity does not exist in the religion history of Armenians. It's only the crap that we know about that was forced on us as a history. You idiot, just tell me what kept the Armenian identity for 2,000 years. So here is an idiot telling me that I'm an idiot because he thinks that the Armenian church kept the Armenian identity for 2,000 years. Well, first of all, it's 1,700 years where we're the worst of all Armenian existence. And especially today, the Armenian language, culture does not exist. We're speaking in English. Why? Because there's, besides the non-Armenians who are tuning to this program, majority of Armenians don't speak the Armenian language, but they all go to the church. You go to any church nowadays, you see they have the Armenian liturgy transliterated into English, and that's how they present it. And then it's so funny that all our religious people at the church, they are forced to do it half English, half Armenian. And yet, this vochkar from England, Seroj, tells me that the Armenian church kept the identity of the Armenians. Why are they using the English language at the church? I bet you anything that in England, they will give the Sunday sermon in English too. So, but the Armenian tradition, respect your elders. What? The idiots who made this people into vochkars. It's okay, let's continue. Your forefathers passed on your identity to you through religion and tradition, otherwise you would be lost in some village in Turkey. The assumption here is that if we stayed in Turkey and if the church was not there, we would have lost our identity as Armenians. And it's so funny that all the churches all over the world have made sure that the Armenian identity is lost because eternity, because of God and His Son, His mother, and His other boyfriends and girlfriends up in the heavens, having good time in Armenian language. There are young Armenian kids exposed to your pile of shit. Yes, I can switch off, but you are poisoning impressionable young minds. So apparently there are some young Armenian kids who are getting poisoned by my show. It's interesting, if the young Armenian kids know how to tune to my show, that means their brain is working and they are not vochkars. They are in search of the truth, not in search of what is imposed on them by the church as what is the Armenian history is. So here, this vochkar Seroj from England, he thinks he's saving the world by writing this to me. You are not worthy of the persecution your forefathers went through for you to spread this crap. So apparently what my forefathers went through, the persecution, I am not worthy of it either. Who is worthy of it? Nobody wants to be persecuted like that. But by the way, I'm not spreading the crap, and I'm not spreading the word of your stupid God, but I'm just telling the truth, which your God even cannot say the truth. You seem to consider yourself an intellectual. Who said I do? I have always told you, I am the least educated individual on this planet, but there's one difference. I have a logical mind. And when you're thinking logically, you're much smarter than any intellectual on this planet. Bari Luys for that. So, you are nothing but an opinionated idiot committing white genocide. So I responded to this idiot, Vochkar from England, and I told him, download my app, Part-Time All Things Armenian. If you have done anything better than that, I will apologize to you on my show for saying Vochkar Seroj from UK. But, Mr. Azarian, I am not committing the white genocide. You and your idiocy is committing the white genocide. Some commercial breaks. Bari Luys.
Have you protected him? Have you protected her? Look safe. Don't leave him hanging. Have you put real thought in his future? Have you protected your kid's future? Let's create a trust. Assign them a guardian to protect his future. Contact Der Parsegian Law Group. We are here to help.
Էնսինոյում գտնվող Terrace Restaurant and Lounge-ը միջին արևելյան ճաշարանների բազմությունից առանձնանում է լավագույն լիբանանյան խոհանոցով։ Ճաշարանի շքեղ բացօթյա սրահը անկրկնելի է բուրավետ հուկա վայելելու եւ միջին արևելյան ախորժալի խորտիկները ճաշակելու համար։ Ուրբաթ եւ շաբաթ կենթանի նվագախումբը, DJ-ն ու գեղեցկուհի պարուհիները ձեր ժամանցը կհամեմեն միջերկրական կրկոտրիկներով։ Ճաշարանը բաց է շաբաթը 6-ով, ճաշին եւ ընթրիքին։ Անմահական ուտեստներ, անկրկնելի միջավայր։ Terrace Restaurant and Lounge 25 տարի համայնքի հետ, համայնքի համար 25 տարի շարունակ Հորիզոն հեռուստատեսությունը արձագանքել է ժամանակի պահանջներին ու բավարարել ամենատարբեր նախընտրությունների հեռուստադիտողին։ Հորիզոնը մշտապես ներկայացրել է հայ համայնքի քաղաքական, մշակութային, հասարակական ներուժը, բարձրաձայնելով հայի կարծիքն ու դիրքորոշումը։ Հավատարիմ իր առաքելությանը Հորիզոնը Հարավային Կալիֆոռնիայի հայ համայնքին առաջարկում է անվճար կապուղիների միջոցով լինել հայոց աշխարհի իրադարձությունների կիզակետում։ Արդիականացման աշխատանքներից հետո Հորիզոնն այսօր արդեն եթերում է 10.6 հաճախականությամբ։ Մեզ միանալու համար անհրաժեշտ է ընդամենը մեկ ամենասովորական ալեհավաք։ Հաջորդ քայլով միացնում եք ալեհավաքը հեռուստացույցի համապատասխան մուտքին։ Հեռակառավարման վահանակի վրա սեղմում եք որոնող կոճակը եւ 10.6 ալիքի միջոցով հայտնվում եք գիտակրթական, տեղեկատվական, հանրամատչելի, ժամանցային ու որն ամենակարևորն է, տեղական բազմազան հեռուստահաղորդումների հորձանուտում։ Հորիզոն հեռուստատեսությանն անվճար միանալու համար անհրաժեշտ է ընդամենը 1 հպում։ Տեխնիկական հարցերի համար կարող եք դիմել 818 403 95 հեռախոսահամարով եւ մենք կօգնենք ձեզ դառնալու մեր հեռուստադիտողը։ Պահպանեք լավագույն ավանդույթները։ Միացեք Հորիզոնին։
Գիտեք արդյոք, որ ամեն 4-րդ կին ենթարկվում է ընտանեկան բռնության։ Ընտանեկան բռնությունը այն վարքն է, որը դրսևորվում է մի անձի կողմից մյուսին իշխելու եւ ճնշելու նպատակով։ Դա կարող է արտահայտվել ծեծով, բղավոցով, հայհոյանքներով, ընտանիքից եւ ընկերներից մեկուսացնելով, ստորացնելով, ֆինանսական հսկողությամբ եւ այլն։ Եթե դուք կամ ձեր ծանոթը ենթարկվում եք ընտանեկան բռնության, զանգահարեք այս համարով։ Զանգի գաղտնիությունը երաշխավորված է։ Դուք միայնակ չեք, ձեզ կարող են օգնել։
Well, that much for the Vochkar from England. Now, last week there was a fundraiser in Los Angeles for the homeless people from Gyumri, homeless people in Gyumri, Armenia. And the total money collected was around $330,000, where Armenia Fund matched that $330,000 by another $330,000, and the total was $660 at the end of the telethon. This was a mini telethon specifically for the homeless people in Gyumri, and in the coming days I'm sure it's going to surpass the $700,000. And the idea here is to go and buy an apartment which is valued at $20,000 and bring those homeless people who are living in this metal shacks and things and put them in those apartments and feed them and give them clothing and let their kids get education so that they can grow up, go to university, pay for their university, so that they become a good factor in the working power in Armenia and make some money and live happily ever after. And by the way, the deed for those apartments will not be given to the homeless people till another 15 years have passed and life is better for them. Now, just this week in the news, we heard somebody from Fresno, a family from Fresno, California, donated over $1 million to build a church in one of the villages in Armenia. So what's the difference of building a church for over $1 million, where Vochkars they're going to enter, come out without any benefit for them, where you have some 150 families in Gyumri. I mean, I'm sure that other towns in Armenia have homeless people too, but 150 families in Gyumri, and the estimated cost of $20,000 per family will put them in a better situation. So that $1 million that's going to be utilized, that's been utilized already, the church is there, that people will use on Sundays, and the Armenian church is going to benefit from that as a at one of the franchise places where people spend some money, comparing to 150 families who are homeless in Gyumri. And this is happening in Armenia itself. So now, if I come and criticize this situation, remember, my show is about being true to our identity, being straightforward, and don't start putting lies, because this person might be offended, the archbishop might be offended, the person who donated the money will be offended. But don't you think it's a better cause to spend that $1 million and make sure that 150 homeless families with at least 3-4 kids minimum per family living in a very, very, I mean, there are countries, third world countries, who don't have that type of homeless people. Yet, the Armenian church, or this idiot from England, the Vochkar, is so proud that the Armenian church is keeping our identity. One less church in Armenia and 150 homeless families are living in a better condition. That's a better place to go to heaven, a better highway to go to heaven. Because when you build a church, dear Fresno family, whoever gave that money, thinking that you guys were going to have your places in heaven, there is no heaven. Be a better person by helping those homeless people. But again, who am I? I am only Stepan Partamyan. But tomorrow, if I become a billionaire Stepan Partamyan, even the church leaders will start listening to me, and they will not build a church, but they will start feeding the homeless people. So here is the truth about the Armenian identity. We cover ourselves with all those amotes, and we don't do anything about it. Yet, suddenly, somebody is convinced somebody to spend money to build a church. Big deal. What has all those churches that we have built in the 1700 years done to us? One thing. Part-time All Things Armenian, the app, has beautiful pictures of all those churches. But what's the benefit for the identity? Nothing. Please tell me, in Southern California, just in Glendale, we have over 12 churches. What's the benefit? A division in the community. You go to my church, I go to your church. No. You go to your church, I go to my church. Why? Because God will not accept you in my church. And God will not accept me in your church. So therefore, let's have more churches. Actually, I'm thinking of opening up my own church. The church of non-believers. But it will be called a church. Because the hierarchy in the church organization and the benefits that the US government gives to any non-profit is not as good as giving it to a church, a religious non-profit. See? I can abuse the system to myself. But I'm not a vochchar to build another church and ask people to come. Because every non-believer is a free thinker, is not a vochchar. That's why you don't see an organized non-believers. Because we don't believe in having a hierarchy. You're higher than me, I'm lower than you. Or you can do this, I cannot do this. We're all equal. That's what the church preaches. Every man is equal to each other. Yet, we see a gatoigos, we see an archbishop, we see a kahana and a vartabit. How come? If everybody is equal, why do you need to have that hierarchy? So, that's another idiocy and hypocrisy within the Armenian communities worldwide. And it's so interesting. This vochchar from England is no difference from any other vochchar in Glendale or in Lebanon or in Syria or in Iraq or in Kuwait. Now, if I forget any other country, please, all the other vochchars from those countries, don't be offended, because I'm sure you guys are going to call me and tell me, how come you didn't mention Armenians from France? I'm talking about the vochchar. How come you didn't mention the Armenian vochchars from France and you only mentioned the Armenian vochchars in England? See? But 49% of Armenian freethinkers and people who understand what I'm talking about will never be offended if they're from Lebanon, Syria, Hayastan, England, because they know that they're not vochchars, they're freethinkers. After this commercial break, I'll come back. In God's will or without God's will, I'll be back. Bari Luys.
Սննդարար, համեղ եւ հաճելի։ Ներկայացնում ենք դամավանդ անարատ թարմ մածունը։ Այն ունի բնական թթվաշ համ եւ հագեցած է ակտիվ պրոբիոտիկներով։ Դամավանդ սարի բուրմունքն ու թարմությունը կրող այս մածունը անփոխարինելի է նաեւ խոհարարության մեջ։ Օգտագործեք այն կերակուր պատրաստելիս։ Իդեպ եփելիս այն երբեք չի կտրվում։ Դամավանդ, համեղ, թթվաշ։ Իսկական մածուն։ Վաճառվում է բոլոր նպատակներում։
Central Optometry կենտրոնն ու Board Certified ակնաբուժ Սոնա Սիրունյանը առաջարկում են ակնաբուժական ծառայությունների լայն ցանկ, այդ թվում աչքի ընդհանուր քննություն, ակնային հիվանդությունների ախտորոշում եւ բուժում։ Աչքերի չորության բուժման համար այստեղ կիրառվում է շրջանում միակը հանդիսացող Lippi Flow բարձրորակ սարքավորում, մանկական ակնաբուժական ծառայություններ եւ այլն։ Central Optometry-ն առաջարկում է նաեւ contact lens-երի եւ հայտնի պիտակների օպտիկական ակնոցների լայն ընտրանի։ Central Optometry կյանքին նայեք առողջ եւ գեղեցիկ աչքերով։ LABK Services հաստատությունը առաջարկում է սննկացման, bankruptcy-ի հայտարարագրման ծառայություններ։ Դիմումների ամբողջական լրացում 1 ցածր արժեքով։ $399 գումարած արձանագրության պետական վճարումը։ Bankruptcy-ի դիմելու դյուրին ընթացք, ժամանակի ու դրամի խնայողություն։ Մենք երաշխավորում ենք սննկացման գործընթացի գաղտնապահությունը։ Bankruptcy-ի հետ կապված բոլոր հարցերով դիմեք LABK Services գրասենյակ։
Շատ մարդիկ են ապրում ստրեսի եւ դեպրեսիայի նշաններով, ինչպիսիք են ներվային վիճակը, տխրությունը, հիասթափությունը, մտահոգությունը, քնելու դժվարությունը եւ էներգիայի պակասությունը, եւ չգիտեն ինչպես վարվել կամ դիմադրել։ Այդպիսի դժվարությունները խտրականություն չեն դնում տղամարդկանց, կանանց, ծերերի կամ երիտասարդների միջև։ Եթե դուք կամ մեկը ում ճանաչում եք այդպիսի զգացումներ ունի, մենակ մի տարապեք։ Կարող եք օգնություն ստանալ։ Զանգահարեք այս համարին։ Ձեր զանգը գաղտնի եւ ապահով կմնա։
Welcome to Hall and Chambers. We embrace a tradition of building communities, building dreams. For over 25 years, we've been providing superior real estate services, original approaches for optimal results. One of the fastest growing real estate firms in the region, over 400 agents, and 5 locations to serve you. At Hall and Chambers, we advocate homeownership, property rights, and quality of life. Hall and Chambers, delivering optimal experiences in purchasing your dream home.
I know some of you will be offended by me calling Armenians vochkar, or some Armenians vochkar, or 51% of Armenians vochkar. You know, throughout this 19 years of my program, I always come up with new ideas of name calling. In the past, I had the right and the left, I had the above the neck, below the neck, and lately I've been using the word vochkar, and I'm taking it from the Bible. Vochkar. Now you're going to say, where is it mentioned? The whole idea of the Bible is to maintain the vochkar status of a human being. So now, if I called the vochkar from England vochkar, he will not get offended. But if I call an Armenian in England who thinks like a vochkar, he will get offended because he has some logic in him. But he does not have the ability to be thinking logically about the Armenian identity when I come and say the Armenian church did not keep the Armenian identity alive. We are hypocrites when we state that thing, and it's for the benefit of the Armenian church because they can make money out of it. See, like the vochkar from Fresno gave money to build a church at the border village in Armenia. Why? To keep the Azeris away. When you have a church, God is there looking around all those villages and such things. No, he's not. But if he gave that money to the poor, well, there is an action, as I say in Armenian, aktsiya, about taking displaced individuals, the homeless people, and put them into apartments throughout Gyumri. So 150 families, that $1 million would have solved the whole problem. And that individual or the family who gave that $1 million would have had the praise of those 150 families and their offsprings because that particular family did something good. But when you're building a church, you're not doing anything good. So therefore, you get the title of vochkar. Now, I know all the religious people will be mad at me. All the Sirpazans will be mad at me. But believe me, I'm talking about the truth. The truth hurts. It doesn't hurt me. It hurts them. So therefore, they have to be more understanding about the future of Armenians because the younger generation is not like the older generation. The younger generation will question every move they're making, starting with me and so many other younger people. In the past, 50 years ago, when your father told you you have to do that, you had to do that, no matter it was right or wrong. Let's go to church. You had to go to church. Today, when you tell your kid you have to go to church, he will question, what am I getting out of the church? Nothing. Therefore, you see so many Armenian kids and younger generation going to alternative religious organizations because they see a two-way highway instead of the one-way highway that Armenian church provides. So don't be mad at me when I'm talking about the truth. Now, if it was another organization doing the same thing, I would have mentioned that name, their name. But right now, because this week's article in the newspaper was about this family in Fresno donating over $1 million and they have built a church and all the newspapers are putting it because they're wealthy people, they have money, you have to be brown-nosing them. I don't care. I'm wealthier than anybody on the planet and I will never, ever be a brown-noser. So therefore, I can say anything I want. I am not dependent on anybody to tell me if you do it like this will help you. I don't give a shit. Exactly, just like the thing. Have I done what I have done till now without bending over for other people? So I can continue. Are you guys going to put obstacles in front of me? Who cares? Because I'm not dependent on you and your obstacles. Now, Part-time All Things Armenian, it's for you. It's a free app. It's for your own identity, to be proud of your Armenianness. existence on the planet. And when in the beginning of the show I go, you have to be as stupid to not realize that the United States of America is Armenian, I know it doesn't make sense to you because you're a vochkar. You can't start thinking. The ability of utilizing your brain and the cells in the brain to make you go further in life. Well, you're a vochkar. You just do whatever is told you. And then if one vochkar throws itself from a cliff, other vochkars follow. And that's what we Armenians have been doing for the last 1700 years. It's so unfortunate. But that's reality. Now, you can always purchase my book, The Armenian in America. Or, Yes We Have. It's again related to the American Armenian identity. And you can go to the thearmenian.com and purchase that book. That $40 that you will give, out of it $15 goes to the publishing of the book, and I have $25. I can go out and have fun. I can have VIP service with $25, a bottle service with $25. I can have so many women surrounding me with that $25. But no, my vochkar friends on the left and my free thinkers on the right. What I do is I travel and document again. Why? Because I have to fulfill my obligation of documenting everything Armenian on the planet in the 21st century, so that in the 27th century, nobody like me will stand up and say, those idiot Armenians of the 17, 18, 19, 11, 12, 5th, 7th century did not document themselves. But there's another reason there. It could be that they were not idiot, but the church forced on them the vochkar mentality of, this is what Armenian history is, and that's it. We are so proud of our Armenian heritage. What heritage? The Chikoftes and Lahmejun heritage? Or the Chorova? Oh, we don't have Chorovas. We have kebab heritage. It's all about food, but with other people's languages, not even in Armenian. Think about it. I'll be going to Armenia on September 11th, and I'll be back on the 25th. You will see this show another time too. Bari Luys.
Աբուշի մեկը պիտի լաս, եթե չհասկնաս, որ Ամերիկայի Միացյալ Նահանգները հայկական է։ Bari Luys.